Hi, everyone. In this video, we want to review 3 quick plays as they pertain to changes to the goaltending and basket interference rules under the National Federation of High School Rules for the 25-26 season. While these 3 clips will be clips from NCAA men's games, we will discuss them only in the context of the NFHS rules. In this first clip, we have a pass, a shot, and then what is originally ruled as offensive basket interference. You can see the slot official waving the shot off. If we back this play up, a couple things to note. We have a quick pass, we have a turnover, a quick pass, and at this point we need to recognize that both defenders are going to trail this play, right? So in fact, at this point, you can actually see that both of these defenders have slowed up because now they're going to try to time their block attempt from behind. So the first player here in timing ends up being a bit off. He misses. And now we will need to take a look at this player from behind. Now notice we have a try or tap for goal. We have a shot that goes up and hits the backboard. And now under our new rule, once the shot has hit the backboard, we are going to deem it to be on its downward flight. Even though the trajectory of the ball is still headed upward, we will rule this as if it's on its downward flight. So we have a try or tap for goal that's on its downward flight, or in this case has contacted the backboard, which still has the possibility to go in, and now is contacted by a defensive player. So we should have correctly ruled this as defensive goaltending. And now that's the only type of goaltending. Now, with that call not being made, we now have a ball that's on the rim, or sorry, that's inside the cylinder. And now we have the offensive player for gold come up and contact the ball inside the cylinder. And that's what led the slot to rule offensive basket interference. However, this call is incorrect because, not because of anything about the rule. If given that we missed the first call, that's the correct call. But we should have correctly first ruled defensive goaltending, which would have made the ball dead. At that time, the penalty for the violation is 2 points. So we should have awarded the goal team 2 points for the goaltending violation, and then put the ball on the baseline for a throw in. All right. Looking at the next play. Here again, we have a ball coming up the court in transition. Now, again, often these plays happen very fast, and sometimes, as in this play, they happen when there's actually been a mistake made. So if we back this clip up, right, we'll notice what happened. Number 3 throws an alley-oop to, I believe that's 0 there. 0 doesn't totally control the ball, and instead of dunking the ball, which is what he'd hoped to do, the ball hits off his fingers, and now he is hanging on the rim. Now, I first want to address the fact this is not an unsporting action for hanging on the rim, because 0 is hanging on the rim to protect himself from the red player, his opponent, who is directly underneath him. So there is no technical foul here for hanging on the rim. However, what we now have is we have white 0, the offensive player, touching the basket. And had he come up and touched and let go, we would have been okay. However, now the ball passes through the basket while he's still holding on to the rim, and therefore we should have had offensive basket interference. There's no call made here. Okay. So again, in this case, we have offensive basket interference because the offensive player touched the basket while the ball was on or within the basket. Now, notice here that one of the key differences between goaltending and basket interference is this does not require that this be a try. So if I back up here, there may be some question as to whether or not, okay, so this we're originally probably ruling a pass. We have a pass, but then he fumbles the ball. So it's not clear that this is a try. However, in order to rule basket interference, you are not basket interference can occur whether there is a try or not. Basket interference is simply that act of touching the ball, touching the basket while the ball is on or within the basket. Although there are other criteria or other categories of basket interference. So whether that's a try or a tap or not, we can still have basket interference on that play. Now, the final play. Right, a little subtle and hard to see in real time, but let's back this up and look at a couple of elements. Again, notice that all of these very difficult plays are occurring, very quickly off a transition, right? So we have to be ready to referee these. So the first thing I want to emphasize, so if we go here, the trailing defender actually comes through to attempt to block the shot, misses the ball, but contacts the backboard. Now, one thing I want to emphasize here is that the simple act of contacting the backboard does not constitute basket interference, right? Under our new rule, you need two elements. You need contacting the backboard, and the second piece is it needs to cause the backboard to vibrate. So while the ball is on or within the cylinder or within the basket. So in this case, yes, we have a player contacting the backboard. However, it does not cause any vibration of the basket whatsoever. So here, we're still fine. Nothing illegal, if I back this up, nothing illegal has happened at this point. Okay. Now, however, the ball comes and sits on the rim. Okay. And now if we sort of watch this very slowly, and it's a little hard to see here, but we have a hand contact the ball and the ball falls in the basket. Now, what makes this particularly tough is that at the same time here you have offensive and defensive players jumping towards the rim. So you need to be able to see which player actually touches the ball here. Now, in this case, the officials are able to use video review to help determine which player touched. But in one of our games where we don't have a monitor, right? I think a best practice would be simply to first go up. So let's say the center official sees the touch. The center official can go up and simply come to the trail official and have a conversation. Hey, I saw, whichever player touched this. Is that what you had? No, I'm 100% sure it was, an offensive player, whatever it may be. So in this case, actually on the floor, they rule defensive basket interference and count the basket. However, if you can tell here, they actually go back to video review, and in fact, it is the player in white here, the offensive player, who touches the ball here. And so they're able to fix this at video review. But again, that's a luxury we won't necessarily have. So again, it would be totally appropriate here to blow your whistle, stop the clock, and then get together with the trail for a conversation if we were possibly unsure or wanted some validation of which player actually touched the ball. So these have just been 3 quick plays to help you get acquainted with some of the new goaltending and basket interference rules so that as you begin scrimmages and early in the season, these aren't the first time you're seeing these plays.